Hello all, I welcome you to this last part 5 of this video lecture series about the response spectrum analysis procedures. In this part we will demonstrate a practical example of the response spectrum analysis procedure for an example building, and I will also compare the results obtained from ETABS with my manual calculations. In this video lecture, I will also show you how you can obtain the individual modal responses from ETABS and how you can also compute them using manual calculations. So let's start. So here I have a structure which is a reinforced concrete building. It is 44-story building and it has shear walls and moment resisting frame also. And I will show you its response spectrum analysis results and how we can separate them to get the individual modal responses. And I have kept this example simple so that you can follow, and I have skipped the extra details. So since we already know that the response spectrum analysis makes use of the mode shapes of the building, so we have to check first whether we have set the right modal case here or not. So the modal case is set to eigen, which is the eigenvalue analysis, and I have set here the maximum number of modes as 20. So then we will go to the definition of response spectrum. Here you can define in functions the response spectrum. So I have defined this response spectrum, which name is RS, and you can modify that and show that response spectrum, and this is this one. So it is a typical chord spectrum, and I will also calculate the individual modal responses manually also in an Excel sheet, and I will use the same response spectrum in that Excel sheet also. So this response spectrum is used to define the response spectrum load case. So you go to load case, and here you have a RSX load case. You can see here that this RS function is used here as the load pattern for this response spectrum load case. The scale factor is the value of G, because this response spectrum function was defined as G units. So that's why I have to put here a scale factor of G to be multiplied with the function so that the spectral acceleration is in the right units. The modal load case is the modal which I have defined earlier, and it uses the eigenvalue analysis, and I have set the total number of modes as 20. The modal combination method I have selected here as SRSS, and I have also applied the modal damping for each mode, which is constant at 5%. So with these simple values, I will run the response spectrum analysis, and the software will report the combined response properties or responses combined from all vibration modes of the structure. So first I will show you the modal properties, and that properties will be used to calculate the individual modal responses manually in my Excel sheet. So you go to tables and then analysis, then results, and maybe the modal results first. In that case I can check modal periods and frequencies, and I can also check the modal participation mass ratios. So I click here OK, and here I can see first the modal periods and frequencies. These are the first 20 modes which I have calculated using eigenvalue analysis. The software calculated basically. So you have the time periods for each of these 20 modes, and you also have the frequencies, eigenvalues. So let's go to the modal mass participations to check which mode is in which direction. So the first mode, which has a period of 4.782 seconds, that mode has a 72.2% contribution towards X direction, and it doesn't have any contribution in Y and Z directions. So which means that this first mode is the primary translational mode in X direction. It's the first mode in X direction. The second mode, which has the time period of 4.217 seconds, has the contribution of 66.26% in Y direction only, and there is no contribution in X and Z directions. Since this building is the perfectly symmetrical building, so the two modes in X and Y directions are completely uncoupled. So which means that the mode which is participating in X direction is not participating in Y direction, and same is true for the second mode, is participating only in y direction and not in x direction. The third mode seems to be the torsional mode because it has the maximum contribution in RZ direction, the torsional motion about the vertical axis, Z axis. So you can see that it is a torsional mode. You can animate these modes also to see the mode shapes and the animations. The fourth mode is having the participation of 13.4% in x direction. So basically it is the second mode in x direction. Fourth mode is the second mode in x direction. Fifth mode again is a torsional mode here. You can see that it is participating in RZ direction significantly, so it's a torsional mode. The sixth mode here is participating in y direction 16.58%, so it is the second mode in y direction. The seventh mode is participating 0.0447, which means 4.4% in x direction, so it is the third mode in x direction. So the summary is that the x direction, and let's say we are only interested in the response in x direction, so we will be applying the response spectrum in x direction, and we also will be calculating the individual modal responses in x direction only. So in x direction, if we separate the mode shapes, we can say that the mode 1 according to software numbering is the first mode in x direction. The mode 4, this one, is the second mode in x direction, and mode 7 is the third mode in x direction. And if we check the sum of Rx here, sum of Ux, we can see that the cumulative mass up to the 7th mode in x direction is 90.21%. So this is a building in which only first 3 modes will give you a mass participation of more than 90%, and those 3 modes are 1, 4 and 7 in x direction. So we will note down these time periods because the software is picking the spectral accelerations and spectral displacement corresponding to these time periods for x direction analysis. So 4.782, 1.411 and 0.719 are our 3 time periods of first 3 modes in x direction. With this information now, we also have to check the mode shape ordinates. So we have to get the phi vectors also. So those phi vectors we can check in the story responses here. So I will cut this table and I will go to display story response plots, and in that story response plot I will check the load case as the modal case and the mode number as the first mode. And the response which I am interested in here is the diaphragm center of mass displacement. This will give us the first mode shape. So the first mode shape, as you can see here, the blue color is the x direction. So the first mode shape is this one. I have assigned the rigid diaphragms in all the stories in this building. So which means whatever is the displacement of the center of mass displacement for each floor diaphragm, that will give me the mode shape vector. So this is the mode shape vector for first mode, which is the first mode in x direction only. So you can get these numbers here. You can go to this option and maybe format it. So this table is already available. So you can copy this column, and these are the mode shape ordinates for first mode. You can copy them in Excel sheet and you can use them for your own processing. So here I will introduce this Excel sheet. I will show you here. You can see here that here I am performing the response spectrum analysis manually and calculating the global responses for each mode separately also, and then I will compare it with the ETABS result which I will get. So here I have first 3 modes time periods, and these are the same values. You can see I have extracted from ETABS 4.782, 1.411 and 0.719, and I have also picked the spectral acceleration values and spectral displacement values from the spectrum. So this is the response spectra. I have plotted the time period for the spectral acceleration for different values of dampings, but in this example I am just using the 5% damping value. So here I have used these two columns, time period and spectral acceleration. You can see this formula, and this is basically picking the value from this time period column and the spectral acceleration column. It is picking the spectral acceleration corresponding to this time period. So this is this spectrum, the first two columns, and I can show you here, this is the response spectrum, which is 5% damp, this one, and the same spectrum I have also defined in ETABS and performed the response spectrum analysis. So the results of this Excel sheet and the computer model, ETABS model, are the same and compatible. So the spectral acceleration value I have picked for all of these three time periods, the first three modes, and I have also converted that into spectral acceleration, because spectral acceleration can be converted into spectral displacement by using omega square. So if the time period is available, you can convert it into omega for that particular mode, and you can convert the spectral acceleration into spectral displacement. So this is the data which I have obtained from ETABS to be used for my manual calculations. So first you can see here I have mode number 1, 2 and 3. I have their time periods. I have manually calculated the gamma factor for each mode, and you can remember from slides what was the gamma factor. I have calculated these three numbers manually, and I will show you their calculations also in a separate sheet, this one bottom. The damping ratio is 5% for each mode, and the spectral acceleration and spectral displacement are picked from the response spectrum curve. So this is the input information. The data which I got from ETABS is this one. The level number, which means the story number, the elevation of each story, the story masses basically, and the first three mode shape vectors, these ones. So you can also extract them from ETABS and use them in your manual calculation, and then compare your modal responses from ETABS. So I go back to ETABS and show you how I got the mode shapes here. So you can see this is the first mode shape, this column is the first mode shape, and I have copied this column in this column here, first mode shape, and obviously the numbers are reversed. Here in ETABS it is showing you the top story up to the bottom story here, but according to this Excel sheet I have used this numbering that it goes from bottom story up to the 44th story. So you can see that the first mode ordinate for 44th story is minus 7.122. So in ETABS also you can see here at 44th story it is minus 7.122. So the X direction value you need to copy it, because this is the first mode in X direction, this mode number 1. Then the second mode shape in X direction is the mode number 4, if you remember from modal analysis results. So I put mode number 4 here, and here I can see the second mode shape, and you can see it looks like exactly the second mode shape. The red line is all 0, which means there is no contribution in this mode number 4 from Y direction. So it is a pure second mode in X direction, and the same process can be repeated, that you can pick the X direction values here, this column, and this is the phi2 vector which you get from ETABS. Similarly, you can put 7th mode, and this will become your third mode shape. This is the third mode shape for X direction, and you can also copy their numbers here and paste in the Excel sheet. So now I have in my Excel sheet first three mode shapes, these columns, and now I can also plot them according to the story level also. These story masses also need to be coming from ETABS, because manual calculation is very complex for each story. So I directly take from ETABS, and ETABS report the story masses or diaphragm masses if you assign the diaphragms to your floors. That you can see here in display, and in here show tables, and then you can go to, for example, this structure results and center of mass and rigidity. You can check that and click OK. So here you will have the story mass for all the stories, here this one, and it will be obviously same for X and Y directions, same number. So you can copy that number, you can copy that whole column, and I have pasted it here. So these are my story masses. I have converted into tons by dividing the kg with 1000. So this is my story masses. Most of the stories have same mass because it has the same plan throughout, and the last story has a different mass. The elevation data or the number of stories data, you can also take it from eTabs. Here you can go to again display, show tables, and maybe you can go to model, and then maybe this structural layout, and then maybe story data. Here you can see that you have the height of each story, and you also have this elevation column. So you can copy that elevation column here. So this is my elevation according to number of stories. So this is all the information which I have taken from eTabs, and I hope that you can also extract it for your structure now. This is the information required to perform the manual calculations for response spectrum analysis. So now I will go to the calculations first, and then I will go back again to eTabs to confirm that my results are right. So here you have the responses of first mode calculation. The very first thing I have done here is that I have normalized the mode shape 1 phi vector, this vector, such that the top value is 1. Currently the eTabs provide us the mode shapes in another normalization scheme. It normalized the mode shapes such that the modal mass for each mode is exactly equal to 1. So the normalization scheme which we will be using in our manual calculation is that we will make forcefully the top number, the 44th story number, equal to 1. So I have divided each number of this mode shape with this P56, which is the last number here. This is P56. So I have divided the whole mode shape with the roof amplitude of that mode shape, and all the values are now normalized such that their peak value is 1. Same I have done in the first column of the responses of mode 2. I have normalized mode 2 such that the roof value is 1. And same as I have done for mode number 3, that I have normalized it so that the last number here is 1. For mode 2 also is 1, and for mode 1 is also 1. The second column is the story displacement. We already know that story displacement was equal to the modal participation factor multiplied by the mode shape and multiplied by the spectral displacement. So if I can write here, it was this, that U1 max first mode will be equal to the modal participation factor for first mode multiplied by the first mode vector multiplied by the spectral displacement of first mode. So we already have this vector from eTabs. We already have picked the spectral displacement from response spectrum. Basically we picked the spectral acceleration and converted to spectral displacement using this expression, that spectral acceleration is equal to omega square into spectral displacement. So we need this modal participation factor for first, second and third modes, which are basically the first, fourth and seventh mode according to software numbering. So we need this modal participation factor, this column, this one, gamma factor, and for that you need to go to this other sheet which is called the modal participation factor here. So here I have applied that formula for modal participation factor. I already have the story masses. I already have the first three mode shapes. So modal participation factor becomes, for example, here it becomes gamma factor is equal to, if you remember, it was phi, gamma I is equal to phi I transpose into m into 1 divided by phi I transpose into m into phi I again. In summation form, it was basically equal to sum of story masses multiplied by the mode shape ordinates, for example mj, which is the story mass at jth floor, multiplied by the ordinate of ith mode at that jth floor, divided by the same thing, but now there will be square on phi ij. So this will give you the gamma I. This is in the summation form and this is in the matrix form. So you will get the same number. So I have applied this equation here. So you can see this column is the story mass multiplied by phi. So you already have the story mass, you already have the ordinate for first mode, and you also have the story mass multiplied by phi square. The same two columns will be used. And similarly for mode 2 you will do this thing, and then mode 3 you will do this thing. And then you go to bottom here. So I have the summation also for these all columns. This becomes the summation of mj phi ij. Basically I is first mode here, so it is phi 1j, and here you have basically this one is summation of mj phi ij or 1j square. So if you divide this number, this one with this one, the total sum values, if you divide them, you will get the modal participation factor, because modal participation factor is their ratio. This is gamma I or gamma 1 for this case. So this is gamma 2, this is gamma 3. So you already have this gamma factor for first mode, for second mode, and for third mode. So we will use these in our manual calculations, although ETABS also report that, but we will use that in our manual calculations, these numbers. So here I will go to my same Excel sheet and I have these three modal participation factors: 1.4 for first mode, minus 0.619 for second mode, and 0.357 for third mode. So now we are complete with all the things required to calculate this U1 max, which is the first mode contribution towards the total U vector. So now we will calculate the story displacement, which is response of mode 1. So it is, this vector is U1 max basically. So you check the formula. What we have done here is that we have multiplied these three things. We have multiplied the modal participation factor with the mode shape. This first column is the normalized mode shape multiplied by the spectral displacement. So spectral displacement, again I am converting from spectral acceleration by using this expression. So this will give us this whole column, which is the story displacement for first mode. And for the purpose of plotting, obviously the first mode shape will be maybe in negative direction or maybe in positive direction, but we always want to plot the positive direction of mode shapes. So if there are negative numbers in mode 2 or 3, for example, we convert them to positive for the purpose of plotting and visualization. So I will take their absolute values, although for story displacement all the values are already positive, but I am taking still their absolute values, and I will do it for second mode and third mode also. Next step is to calculate the inter-story drift ratio, for example, for first mode, and that formula you already know. Here if you see the expression, it is simply doing the story displacement upper minus lower divided by the elevation, which is upper minus lower. So this gives you the inter-story drift ratio, and I multiply with 100 to convert it into percentage. The next step is the story force. This is the static force vector, the equivalent static force vector for first mode, and if you remember, it was this one, F is equal to F vector for first mode will be equal to modal participation factor for first mode multiplied by M matrix multiplied by phi 1 vector multiplied by the spectral acceleration of first mode. So this was the formula, if you remember, for equivalent static force vector. So these will be the story forces, this column. So you multiply all these numbers and you already have that gamma, story masses, you already have the first mode shape, and you already pick the spectral acceleration for first mode also. So you multiply all of them here, so you can see the formula and you can convert them into some convenient units. So these are the story forces which should be applied to your structure and which should produce the story shears and story moments. So if we have the story forces, we can sum them for each story and get the story shear also. So you check this story shear, it is the sum of this whole column, but every time I am summing it from that story up to the roof story. So this is the story shears calculated from these story forces, and you can convert these story forces into story moments also. So for example, if you have this story forces vector already, you have the story forces already, you can take their moments, all of these forces moments at each story level, and you can plot the story moment profile also. So I have created a separate sheet to convert these story forces into story moments. So what that sheet does is, this is that sheet, it simply sums the moments of each force for each story to give you the final story moments if you provide it with the story forces. So this is the story force, sorry, it is not the story shear force, they should be story forces, not the shear forces. So if you provide this column, this one, which is the story forces, this simple Excel sheet will sum all the moments at each story caused by these story forces, and these will give you the story moments, these ones, and you can paste this column here again to convert these story forces into story moments. You can write or make your own formula also to sum all the moments of the story forces to calculate these story moments, and you can convert them into some convenient units also. And for the purpose of plotting, some of the stories will have negative moments, some will have positive moments, mostly for mode 2 and mode 3. So I also take the absolute values of these moments for the purpose of plotting. So same procedure is repeated for second mode and for third mode. Here you can see the mode shape will be different, the modal participation factor will be different, and the spectral acceleration corresponding to mode shape 2 will be used here, and mode shape 3 will be used here. So same procedure will be repeated. And then finally you can also have the SRSS values here. This is the combined SRSS values. So all the 4 global responses which we have calculated, we SRSS them. So you see here, this is the SRSS for all the 4 responses, and these are the combined responses. So this is the combined 4 responses. For the purpose of design, if you are following some building code prescribes the seismic design factors, these factors. These are the R factor, response modification factor, overstrength factor, importance factor, and the displacement amplification factor. So these factors should be applied to the elastic responses, combined responses, to get the design forces and design displacements. For example, for design forces, the code recommends that you have to multiply the elastic forces with I over R, which is the importance factor, divided by the response modification factor. So these are some sample values. For example, the code which I am following provides the R value of, let's say, 5.5 for this structure type, and the overstrength factor of 2.5 for this structure type, and the importance factor of 1 and displacement amplification factor of 4.5. So for design forces, I will multiply the combined shear and moment with I over R, and I will get the design forces column. For design displacements, the code recommends that you should be multiplying the elastic displacement and interstory drift ratios and all other displacement related responses with CD into I over R. So I multiply it with CD into I over R to get the design displacements and interstory drift ratio. And there is another important factor which is called the overstrength factor in different building codes, and this is intended to apply only to those members, for the design of those members which are intended to remain elastic during the design earthquake. So this factor is not applied to all the forces, it is applied only to some special type of structures which should remain elastic during the design level earthquake. So here, for the purpose of demonstration, I just multiply the overstrength factor to all the design forces, although ideally it should not be done, but just to give you an idea, I multiply here the omega factor also to get the design forces with overstrength factor applied to all the stories. So let's see the results here in graphical form. Here I have plotted the response spectrum, you can see already, and here I have plotted the mode shapes. So these are mode shape 1, mode shape number 2 and mode shape number 3. And I have not plotted here the absolute values, I have plotted the values with their algebraic sign also. So some of these stories have negative ordinate, some have positive ordinate, but the roof value is always 1 for all 3 modes. So these are the first 3 modes I have taken from ETABS. Basically they are the mode number 1, 4 and 7 according to software numbering. Here I have plotted the individual modal responses, and I am not using the absolute values of modal responses, I am using them with their algebraic sign. So the first mode displacement is shown here with green color, the second mode displacement is shown here with the blue color, and third mode is the red color. So you can see that the displacement is exactly matching with the mode shape pattern also. The third mode is same as the third mode, the second mode is same as the second mode, but the mode 1 is contributing the most in this displacement response. Second mode is contributing significantly less, and third mode is contributing even less. This is the interstory drift ratio results, and you can see that the first mode has the maximum interstory drift ratio. The second mode has a significant contribution which cannot be neglected in the interstory drift ratio, and the third mode also have this contribution. Here I plotted in this case the absolute values. So that's why instead of going to the other side, it is coming back to the same side. So all the results I have made them as absolute. In story shear envelope, here you can see this green line is the story shear from the first mode, blue is the second mode, red is the third mode. You can see again that the second and third mode are contributing significantly, and that contribution cannot be ignored in this case. There can be some stories near the top which has more contribution from second mode compared to first mode. This is the overturning moment or the story moment, and again it shows that the first mode has maximum contribution. Second and third mode also have contributions, but these contributions are not negligible and they should be considered in the response. So here I am showing the combined responses. So I SRSS them, so all the negative values, if any, will become positive, and we will get these 4 total responses, combined responses. ETABS will only give you these responses, these ones. So you can see here, this is the combined displacement, and it is more than the first mode because second and third mode are also adding statistically using SRSS in that displacement. Same is for IDR, shear, story envelope, and the overturning moment also. And in a moment we will see that these responses should match with what ETABS is giving, because we have used the same mode shapes from ETABS and the same time periods and the same spectra from ETABS. So this is a comparison between individual modal responses which I have shown earlier and the combined responses. So you can see that since the maximum contribution from most of the responses was coming from the green line, which is the mode 1, the total response is also very close to the green line. So here you can see the difference between green line and the black line is the contribution from second and third mode. So in displacement you can see the contribution from second and third mode is almost negligible, but here in interstory drift ratio, in story shear and story moment, there is some difference, and that difference is coming from the second and third mode participation in the total response. Here I have plotted only the absolute values, so the lines are not going to the negative side, they are coming back again to the positive side for the purpose of comparison of amplitudes, because the combined responses will always be positive. When you apply SRSS, all the negative values will be converted to positive, and you will only get the positive results from RSA analysis. So here I am comparing the elastic responses with the design responses. So the black line is the elastic response which you get from ETABS or manual calculation, but when you apply the code factors, you convert them into design demands. So for displacements you apply CD into I over R for these two values, but for forces you only reduce them with R and multiply with the I value. So there is a significant difference between elastic values of forces and the design values of forces depending upon the I value and R value. But for displacement responses, the CD value will bring them very close to the original elastic demands. So here in this last comparison, I show you the elastic demands versus the design force demands with and without overstrength. So here I have not applied the overstrength factor to the force demands, but here I am adding one more line, which is the design values with overstrength. So the red line is basically the design values without overstrength, and when you multiply it with the factor of 2.5, you get this blue line, which is the design values with overstrength. This is just for the purpose of comparison to show you that even the design forces with overstrength values will be significantly less than the elastic force demands. So now we will go back to ETABS and we will compare first that our combined responses should match with the results obtained from ETABS in the RSA analysis in X direction, and then we will also calculate the individual modal responses in ETABS, and then we will compare whether they are matching with the individual modal responses which we are calculating in this slide or not. So I will go back to ETABS here and I will cancel this one also, and I will first check the global story responses which are combined for all the modes in RSA load case. So here I will select the load case as response spectrum RSX, this one, and I check the maximum story displacement, this one, and this is the result which I am getting. The blue line is the line for X direction. So you can see here that the maximum displacement is at the roof and it is around 1292, this one, millimeter, 1292 millimeters. So let's compare it with the total displacement we are getting in our ETABS, and that is also very close to this number. You can see this number very close to the number which we are getting from ETABS. It is 1268. It is less than what we are getting in ETABS. The possible reason can be that we have only included first 3 modes in the analysis, but in ETABS we use the total number of modes as 20. So which means that this difference can be attributed to the contribution, small contributions from 4th or 5th mode also, which we have not considered in our Excel sheet. So we will check the other responses also. For example, inter-story drift ratios, maximum story drifts. So you can see here, this is the X direction story drift, this blue line, and the peak number is somewhere around 0.011665, which means around 1.1%. So I will go to my Excel sheet, and here you can see that the maximum story drift is around 1.1%, and the shape of the curve is also matching with what we are getting in ETABS, this one. Similarly, I will go to the story shears now, the combined story shears for all modes. I will select this story shears. So you can see here the story shear values, and the peak number is around maybe 76 into 10 raised to power 6 kilonewtons, and the shape is this one. You can see the envelope. So here I go to my Excel sheet and I check that the base shear here is around same as what is reported by ETABS. It has a value of 74.9, which is quite close to what we are getting from ETABS, and the shape is also matching with what we are getting here in ETABS. The shape is also quite similar, the envelope is similar. Now I will select the last global response, which is the story moments, overturning moments, and let's compare it with what we are getting in Excel sheet. So this is the story moment we are getting. There can be certain issues in the sign of this story moments. As you can see here that the base moment here is shown as positive and the all other moments are shown here as negative. But we will only take the absolute value because SRSS converts all the values in positive numbers. So we will just take the positive value, which is around 6 into 10 raised to power 6 kilonewton meter, and the shape is like this. One more important thing which you should note here is that when I select the overturning moment for the case of response spectrum in x direction, the moment is about y direction. So the moment shown here is in global y direction, so it is a red line. And obviously when the force is applied in x direction, the building will overturn and rotate about the y direction. So we will have this red graph now instead of blue line. So let's check it with Excel sheet, and we have these absolute moment values, and they are very close to this 6 into 10 raised to power 6 kilonewton meters, which we are getting from E tabs here, 6 into 10 raised to power 6 kilonewton meter. So we have confirmed that our global responses, which are combined from all vibration modes, they are matching very close with what we are getting in E tabs. So now we will calculate the individual modal responses in E tabs and compare it with our individual modal responses shown here with green, blue and red lines for first three modes. So let's go to E tabs again, and I will go to again this display, show tables, and this time I will select this analysis, then results, modal results, and this last option which is called response spectrum modal information. So I will check this. This table will give me for each mode three modal amplitudes, U1 amplitude, U2 amplitude and U3 amplitude. These are the spectral accelerations which the software pick from the spectra for each mode, and these are in millimeter per second units, although we have provided the spectra in G units and then define the scale factor as 9810, which was the G value in our units. So this is the spectral acceleration value in our acceleration units, which the software pick for each mode. But more importantly, check here, the software is also providing us with a number called U1 amplitude, U2 amplitude and U3 amplitude. For a given mode and direction of acceleration, this amplitude is the product of modal participation factor of that mode and the response spectrum acceleration, and then divided by the eigenvalue, which is the omega square of that mode. So basically it is comprised of all those constant values for a particular mode, which should be multiplied by the mode shape to get the modal contribution of that particular mode in RSA output. So the modal case basically reports the output in such a way that when multiplied with this modal amplitude will give you the response contribution for that particular mode shape in the RSA results. So this analysis was only performed in U1 direction, X direction. So the amplitude is only available in U1 direction. The other two amplitudes will be 0. This amplitude is the multiplier which, when multiplied with the results of mode shapes or modal case, will give you the corresponding modal demands from the response spectrum analysis. So this is very important. I repeat again that this amplitude is a multiplier which should be multiplied with the modal analysis results to convert them into the corresponding modal responses of the RSA analysis. Which means that if I want the first mode displacement contribution in the RSA analysis, then we should multiply this number with the first mode shape displacement, which is reported from the modal analysis results. Similarly, if I want the story shear, for example, for the second mode shape in RSA analysis, I should multiply the multiplier here corresponding to the second mode with the story shears reported by modal load case. The modal load case not only reports mode shapes or the displacements, it reports all the results just like a typical load case results. So all those results which were previously looking meaningless for us, for example story shears or overturning moments or interstory drift ratios for mode shapes case, those will become meaningful when they are multiplied with the U1 amplitude in X direction. So now what we can do is that we can exploit the option for load combinations to multiply this factor with the modal results, for example modal displacement or modal shears or moments, for example. So here what I am doing is that I am picking the U1 amplitude for first three modes which I am interested in, and that mode is mode number 1, mode number 4 and mode number 7. So I pick this number and then this number, mode number 4, and then this number which is mode number 7. So these three numbers I should pick, and I should multiply my modal analysis results, all the results, with these three numbers to get the corresponding modal contributions in the RSA analysis. So I am going here, I am picking this results. For example, check this first number, which is a modal amplitude in millimeters, and since I am using meters as my units, so I have to divide it with 1000. So it is 175.96. So I should use this multiplier here and define load combinations, and I define a new combination called RSA-X mode 1, which means the first mode contribution in the RSA-X load case. So if I modify this, so here you can see I have applied a scale factor of 175.969, and I have select the load case as modal, and I have select the mode number as 1, and I have named it as RSA-X mode 1. So when I check the results of this load combination, they should correspond to the first mode contribution in the RSA results. Similarly, I have defined another load combination with the second factor and then with the third factor. Here you can see this third factor, but these factors I have divided with 1000 to get them into the right units. So with these three new load combinations, now we can go back again to the story response plots and check the responses for these new combinations, and they now should match with our modal responses which we are getting in this Excel sheet, these values. So let me go back and go to display story response plots, and this time I select the maximum story displacement, but I select a load combination named RSA-X mode 1. So now I will get these numbers, these responses. Now this blue line should correspond to the first mode contribution towards the total story displacement which we are getting from the RSA analysis. So you can check that the peak number is 1280. So the shape also is exactly matching. The first mode is almost same as the total displacement because the second and third mode contributions are very less. So we are almost getting the same number which we are getting in the ETABS. But let's go now to the second mode shape, RSA-X mode number 2. Now the blue line should correspond to the contribution of second mode towards the total story displacement. So let's say we go to this story number 18 and check the displacement, which is 140 millimeter, and let's go to our Excel sheet and check at the same height, this one, and it is 138 millimeter, very close to what we are getting in ETABS. For mode number 3, I go here and let's check it at the story level number maybe 10 or 11. This is that number, it is 40 millimeter, and let's go to our Excel sheet. This is our contribution from third mode, and here also we have 39.9, which is very close to what we are getting in ETABS. Similarly, we can check it for IDR, story shears and overturning moments also. So let me go to maybe the story shears, for example. For example, first mode story shear, I select the RSA-X mode number 1 and go to the story shears. So here you can see the story shear profile for first mode, and the number at the bottom is base shear is almost equal to 60 into 10 raised to power 6 kilonewton. So you can go to Excel sheet here and you can see that we have here the first mode base shear is 60 into 10 raised to power 6. So it is very close to what we are getting in ETABS. So I come back to ETABS now, and this time I let's say select the RSA-X mode number 2. So this is the second mode's contribution towards the story shear, and this is the values with their algebraic sign. So I will let's say check the story shear at this story number 31 maybe, and that is around minus 26 into 10 raised to power 6 kilonewton. So here if we go to our Excel sheet, we can see here that the maximum story shear for second mode is almost 26.196 into 10 raised to power 6 kilonewton, which is very close to what we are getting in ETABS. So similarly, let me go to one last response, which is, let's say, the overturning moment for, let's say, second mode. So this is the overturning moment for second mode, and the shape is matching with what we are getting in our Excel sheet here. Basically we are plotting here the absolute values, but in ETABS it is shown with their algebraic sign. Let's say what is the peak value? It is minus 1.39, almost minus 1.4 for the story number 19 here. Let's go to story number 19 here, and you see the number is 1.395, which is very close to what our ETABS is giving. So this way you can convert any response of the modal analysis into the corresponding modal response of the response spectrum analysis. So in this example we have seen that the individual modal responses which we have manually calculated in our Excel sheet are very close to what we are getting in ETABS using this idea of modal amplitudes. So that's all about this video lecture. I hope that you now be able to calculate your own modal responses for your own buildings while performing the response spectrum analysis. So this individual modal responses give you an insight into the structural behavior. That insight can be used for effective design and for the efficient design decision making. The relative contribution of each mode towards the total response tells us a key information about the composition of the response, and also helps us in devising the strategies if we want to suppress or reduce the overall dynamic response of the building. So this is the end of this video lecture series on response spectrum analysis. I hope that it was useful for you, and if you have any queries or questions, you can contact me through email. So thank you for your attention, and I will see you in some next lecture about some of the concepts about seismic analysis procedures. Till then, stay safe. Thank you.